Hello everyone. On this video we will look at how to add and subtract decimal numbers. Okay, so before we start on that, we want to just go over the point that a whole number is equal to the same decimal value when those decimal digits are zeros. Okay, so for example, if you have the number 3, that's equal to 3.0. And those two are equal to 3.00. And those are equal to 3.000. So as long as your decimal values or your decimal digits are all zeros, you can expand it as long as you want to. Okay, so you want to keep that in mind. All right, so let's look at the steps for adding and subtracting decimal numbers. All right. Okay, so step 1, you want to line up all of the decimal points vertically. Okay, so you want one on top of the other with all of the decimal points lined up. Okay, so 2, you want to fill in any missing decimal digits or whole number values, depending on what's missing, with zeros. Okay, so 3, you want to just add and subtract just like you normally would numbers that are placed vertically. Okay, and 4th, the decimal point of your answer should be lined up with all the decimal points of each of the terms that you're adding or subtracting. All right, so if you are still writing this, of course, feel free to press pause and get it all down. But we're going to go ahead and look at a few examples. All right, so for the first example, you have 23.007 plus 1.12. Okay, so just like these steps suggest, first thing you're going to do is write these down vertically. So you have 23.007 plus, so you have the point, you want the point or the decimal point aligned with this decimal point. So that will be 1.12. Okay, that's the first step. The second step is any missing digits you want to fill in with zeros. Okay, so just you have 7, but you have nothing here, you go ahead and fill that in with a 0. You have 2 and you have nothing here, you go ahead and fill that in with a 0. So we're adding these together, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so you have 7 plus 0 is 7. 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 plus 1 is 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. 2 plus 0 is 2. You have these two decimals lined up, so of course your answer decimal is going to line up right along with them. Okay, so that is your answer. All right, so let's go ahead and move up to our next example. And what I want you to do is for these next two examples, I want you to press pause and go ahead and try to solve these on your own using the steps from the previous example and listed below. Listed on the previous page. All right, so I'm assuming you've pressed pause and worked these out. So let's go ahead and verify your answer. Okay, so to solve this one, you have 25.53 plus 2.897, so it's going to be 2.897 plus 379.6, so that's going to be 379.6. So all of our decimal points are lined up. Okay, so you have a few missing values here. So we're just going to fill those in with zeros, just to make sure all of them have the same amount of digits. Okay, so 0 plus 7 plus 0 is 7. 9 plus 3 is 12. 6 plus 4 is 10. plus 8 is 18, plus 1 is 19. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 1 is 10. 3 plus 1 is 4. So we lined up all of our decimals, so our answer decimal will line up right along with them. All right, so excuse me. We have our next problem. So we want you to remember that 8 is equal to 8.0 is equal to 8.00, and etc. And it keeps on going and going. You can add as many decimal digit zeros as you like. Okay, so instead of 8, what we're going to do is we want to put 8.0, just to have a decimal point available, plus 0.002, so 0.002, plus 3.1, plus 0.04. So we're going to go ahead and add all of those together. And we're going to go ahead and fill in those blank spaces with zeros. And just add like we normally would. 0 plus 2 plus 0 plus 0. Move that up a little. Is 2. 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 4 is 4. 0 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0 is 1. 8 plus 3 is 11, so go ahead and put down that 11. And all of our decimals are lined up, so we go ahead and put that decimal right underneath it. Okay, so it's 11.142. All right, so if you are still writing, feel free to press pause, but we're going to go ahead and move on to a couple of story problems. All right, so what is the combined thickness of these 5 shims? Okay, you have 0.008, you have 0.125, or you could say 8 thousandths, 125 thousandths, 150 thousandths, 185 thousandths, and 5 thousandths of an inch. Okay, so what I want you to do is go ahead and press pause and try to solve this one on your own. Alright, so I'm assuming you've pressed pause and you've solved this one. So let's go ahead and verify your answer. Alright, so when they say the combined thickness, basically they just want you to add all of these together. Okay, so you have 0.008 plus 0.125 plus 0.150 plus 0.185 plus 0.005. Okay, so 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 8 is 18, plus 5 is 23. 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. And you have all zeros there, so you can just put the 0, or you could have left that as blank if you wanted to. But when we line up all of our decimals, our answer lines up right along with it. And put our unit of measure. And it's 473 thousandths of an inch. That's your final answer. All right. So if you are still writing, feel free to press pause. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our last example. All right. So if we have a certain machine part that is 2 345 thousandths of an inch thick, what is the thickness after 78 thousandths of an inch is ground off? Okay, so just like before, I want you to press pause and solve this one on your own. Alright, so assuming you've already solved it, let's go ahead and verify your answer. Okay, so if we started off with 2 and 345 thousandths of an inch, and we shaved off 78 thousandths, so what we started off with minus what we shaved off. Okay, so if you want to picture it kind of visually, let's say if this whole thing represent 2 and 345 thousandths of an inch from top to bottom, and we shaved off that amount here, where this is our 78 thousandths of an inch. We want to know what would be left, this part here. Okay, so that's what this answer will be. So we're going to go ahead and subtract. We have 5 minus 8, can't do it, so we go ahead and borrow 1. So we have 4, that becomes 3. So 15 minus 8 is 7. You have 3 minus 7, can't do it, so we go ahead and borrow 1. And it becomes 13. 13 minus 7 is 6. Okay, so you have 2 minus 0, which is 2, and 2 minus 0, which is 2. Bring down our decimal point. And after shaving off or rounding off 78 thousandths, we will be left with 2 and 267 thousandths of an inch. All right, so hopefully this made sense, and I'll see you on the next video.